Shalom. That means peace. Happy Shabbat. Happy Sabbath for everyone that's out there. Shalom, my Kuti sister Sharon. I pray all is going well. I pray everyone that's in the Northeast quarter is getting ready. We have this snowfall that's on its way. I thought last week was about it. I figured we were finished. we were finished from all that snow, but it's coming. The Most High has His plans, and we pray that the snow that does come, it's coming down to help to purify the earth, purify the ground. Um, because is a balance with everything, and I know sometimes we look at it as it can be an inconvenience, but the Most High says it's seasons, and there's a reason why He made seasons. So, with that being said, I just like I said last week, we need to be preparing. I know it's Sabbath. The snow's supposed to start tomorrow. You can't hear me? Hold on. How about now? Can you hear me now? Give me a thumbs up or like. Shalom, Mary. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Whoever was giving a thumbs up. Okay, Sister Sharon, it may be your end. Um, we'll try again. Um, okay, you can hear me now. All right, that's good. I was trying to mess with my settings to see maybe if it was something. I did have the Bluetooth was on, and I think my Bluetooth may be somewhere in in the vicinity. So sometimes if you have that Bluetooth on, you know how it is. It'll go ahead and it'll connect, and um, so I think that's what it was. I think the Bluetooth is connected somewhere, but that's good. I was just saying about being prepared for those that are in the Northeast. We have once again we're having another snowfall that's coming. The Most High allows for snow to come, and a lot of times it's to bring balance. Sometimes the snow is doing things that we don't even know. We know it should be purifying the earth, purifying the ground. Um, you know, bringing everything back in order. But as we move forward and we're going to get in order, we need to just make sure that we have all of everything aligned, so we're not running out the last minute. I know they're saying 1 minute it's 4 to 12 inches, 1 minute it's 6 to 12, 1 minute it's 3 inches, and being prepared. I know you can't get salt. Always remember you can put sand down. Remember, because that helps you not falling or anybody else. And sand actually will melt the salt, just not melt the snow, but not as fast as it would as the salt would. But so if you can't find that, they got a lot of play sand. It's very cheap. And I think we also should always keep sand as well, because you could use sand in bags of sand. What happens if there's a flood? What happens if there's waters coming in? You need to prop something up. So we should also you know, be prepared. Keep the big bags of sand just laying around, in case we ever need them. But I just pray and I hope that the Most High is allowing everybody to enjoy this. This is a beautiful Sabbath, and I know that's one of the most difficult things to do is to ground yourself, to be inside, or to be at rest, especially when we have a day like this. And I know there is times that we have to prepare because we may not have enough food, enough water, things of that nature. So some people are out. Shalom, good brother. Congratulations too. So some people may not, really be prepared to have the things that they need, but go in, look at different things, look at your medications, look at your supply, look at the water, soap, all the basic things like that you may need as well. So, shalom, Prophet Jason as well. So, I'm not going to put his name out there, but welcome to the bunch, brother. Welcome to the bunch, right? It's good, and Yah's going to bless you because it is an overall covenant that we do. It's a vow that we take, and we've taken a vow with the Most High. We can take vows and continue to do the things that He wants, and He's going to make those things increase, especially once your family starts to evolve even more, So I just want to tell you congratulations. I didn't want to put it all out there because I understand I got to be careful out there. So today's lesson, right? This is a good one. It's a little heavy one, but we're going to start. We're going to jump into look at the parashat real fast, and first things I want to say, yes, Sister Sharon, I pray that everybody is staying warm. I'm like last week. I was telling people, some reason your power goes out, or 2 weeks ago. Go upstairs, you can make a tent, right? Stay inside your tent if you have one, and you could put, blankets or towels, things around it to keep you warm. Find the warmest area in your home. Especially for those who have electric, because some people, their electric goes. And then if the electric goes, nothing works. Some people, you have gas. So I advise people really not to do it, but you can always put your gas stove on because, if the gas is running and things like that, if something happens to your power. But we have to be prepared and stay prepared in the season. Oh, I meant to tag Shalom Prophetess, Quan. So if you Daquan, if you can tag him in, that's right. I know he got rid of Facebook. So I want to start out today by jumping in. We're going to go back to Bereshit. We're going to look in Genesis, and Genesis is a great book. It's just, I always say that it's just so much here. We're going to go Genesis chapter 11. I know everybody knows this story, but it'll take us into today's lesson. And hold on for a second. There we go. I know I was a little late coming on. I was sending right. So Genesis chapter 11. This is about the Tower of Babel, right? At first, the people of the whole world had only one language, and they all used the same words. As they wandered about in the east, they came to a plain in Babylonia and settled there. They said to another, "Come on, let's make bricks, break them hard, so they can build with tar and hold them together." They said, "Now let's build a city with a tower that reaches the sky." So they say, let's build a city and build a tower that will reach, the version should say, the Shemarium, the heaven, the air. Why do they want to reach the air? Do they really believe, or did they believe that they were going to be able to create something so high in the air that was going to be able to take them directly to see Yahweh, to see Yahweh, to get to the heavens? Now, I know we understand, and we understand the firmament, the firmament. We understand the, man, saying the word wrong. Firmament. Y'all know what I'm saying. How the earth is. You have the level of the earth. Then you have, we can go back to Genesis 1, and it just talks about the sky of the earth. You got the space of the earth. And I like to look, and I don't have it with me, because they do a great job on the flat earth diagrams. They show that there's a area of water that's between, you got space, then it's water, and then it's heaven, and there's like a dome. And I've watched a lot of rockets. They show them, and they fire up. They go upwards, and you see them, boom, they hit the dome, and you'll see them fall down in a piece of Shalom Prophetess, and you'll see them fall down. So whether that's true or not, we understand that there's different levels of the heaven. There's different levels of the air, right? So they were building a tower that says, hey, we want to reach the sky so we can make a name for ourselves. They're saying, we want to elevate ourselves higher than the Most High. We want to get to the Shemarium, to heaven, to tell the Most High, hey, don't you ever destroy the earth again, or who knows what, right? I know there's I don't know how accurate it is, a memoir or a book from Nimrod, right? That's out. It's floating around. I don't know how accurate it is. You know, but it talks about like the purpose, right? I saw it, I looked at it, and I was in a bookstore, and we were, I think we were in DC, man. We were at a bookstore, and I was like, the Book of Nimrod, and I'm like, let me research this or let me find it. And I forgot what the name was. But I did see, and that's what he was saying. They wanted to go up into the heaven to try to take the Most High out, right? So then it says, then Yahweh, the Lord, came down to see the city and saw the tower they had built and said, now these people, we're going to confuse them as they all speak one language. Now this is deep. Listen to this. It says, soon they will be able to do anything they want. I want y'all to just ponder and think about that. Shalom, prophetess. Think about that for a minute. It said soon these people will be able to do anything they want. Y'all reading this? Why would the Most High, and I don't even want to say allude or believe that mankind, womankind, beings will be able to do anything they want if they were able to build this tower? We don't understand our true power. We don't understand our true spiritual power. The Most High understood it. He saw it, whether he was talking to King Yeshua, whether he was talking to the angels that were around. He specifically said it, right? He said, he said, let us go down and mix up the language so they will not understand each other. So Yah scattered them all over the earth, right? And they stopped building the city, right? And the city was called Babylon. The elevation, today's lesson is really going to be, I don't have a title for it, but it's going to be speaking about the sky, what's around us. So when we look at today, right, we look at modern today as we know it, and when we look at war. Now, I know I'm going to say certain words. I need y'all to kind of understand me and try to pay attention, because there's certain words and code words that I hope that you all are learning, and we know whether you're talking on the phone, whether you text, whether you're on live, that flag the powers that be. And some of it is for good purposes, because there are some evil people out here who straight up, they need to be heard of what they're doing, right? So, but in the lesson and with Facebook, sometimes I've seen it, you can say certain things and it'll shut your feed down, right? So I'm not saying anything that's going to be crazy, but I'm going to use some props today just so make people understand some things a little different, right? But you got to just stay with me, because I may not be able to fully express myself with the whole wording, right? But when we look at the world and we look at everything that's going on, what do we see? We see war, rumors of war. We see things that are happening. We saw even in the past, right? We look at Torah, we see all of the battles and that our ancestors went through in the past, and they were war. Now, were they justified wars? According to Torah, most of the wars were justified as Yah had given them, right? Minus a couple of times they went on their own, and we saw what happened, a direction to go and do something, right? But when you look at, and y'all ever see Hero, the Chinese martial art movie, and some of the old school movies, when they see, you got Gladiator 2, you have Braveheart, but I don't think they use any airborne type of weapons. And matter of fact, they did. They launched a big big things that they were throwing in the air, right? But what they did was, in war, even past battles and current battles, they understood that battles were won or lost based on things that occurred in the air. So the ancient, Chinese or Asians, and even when we go back and we start following and looking at how bow and arrows were created, why they were created, right? They would go into, a war, and we see it. They would take their bow or arrow, and they would shoot the arrow up into the air. So it's what? Getting elevation. That arrow is going to go up in the air, and as the arrow comes down, it's picking up speed. moving faster and faster, faster, boom, and it would take out. I know a lot of us, we've seen this in some of the ancient war or some of the old movies, right? But they knew the arrow was shot up into the air because in the air is where what? It was going to increase. In the air, it was going to build its power. In the air, they understood that as an arrow went up and came down, it's coming down at a faster speed than sometimes just shooting an arrow down. But they knew that it was going to what? Inflict destruction, right? When you look at the art of war, you always saw a higher ground or a higher playing field and a lower, right? A high ground and low ground, a high battleground, low battle. You ever seen, I like old Westerns and even on TV shows, and if they're in a gunfight, they're like, hey, don't do it. I have the leverage on you, right? The person who is what? At the higher ground, tactfully, has more advantage than the person that's at the bottom, right? So they understood this, and people see, okay, I know you have the upper hand. When we look at today, right? We look at today. I hope y'all with me, right? Sister Sharon, y'all with me, right? Prophet Jermaine. Today's war, right? What usually happens when countries go to war? They have what? Ground war. They have, thank you, Sister Latrice. They got war of the sea, right? They got war of the air. They have technological or technology that will help win wars. But they always understood, Sister Sharon, right? Sister G, that wars were what? Won in the air. Okay? Now, let's look at it like this. Football, right? Football is a game that involves tackling and running, but most modern day football games are won through the air. You take the football, the quarterback, that's the one for those who don't know, they take the football and they pass the ball. You have a good quarterback, you have a good wide receiver, you got a great chance of winning because your air game is what? Indestructible. You can win. So when we look at modern day war, right? Not sure because of the glare again. I'm sorry, y'all. Mary, can y'all see this? Because it's a glare, so I can't see it back on the screen, right? We see that even in today's society, they understand that any battle, any war that you face, it begins in the air. So look at Joshua chapter 6, and we notice we're not going to go through it, but it's the fall of Jericho, right? So when we look at Joshua chapter 6, verse 2, it says, Yahweh, the Lord said to Joshua, I'm putting into your hands Jericho with its king and all its brave soldiers. You and your soldiers are to march around the city once a day for 6 days, right? 7 priests, each carrying a trumpet. Well, what were they carrying a trumpet for? We know the story. I probably could just fast forward and get into it because the ones that us that's on here, I know we definitely know it, right? But it says that, carry a trumpet and you're supposed to go into the front of the covenant box. On the 7th day, you and your soldiers are to what? March around the city 7 times while walking. The priest should blow the trumpets. Then they are to sound one long note. So we know about music. We know about sound. We know that as the sound releases, it goes into the atmosphere. We know as your hallelujah goes out, it goes into the atmosphere. You know that as you listen, even if you want to inflict damage on someone and you're yelling and screaming, it goes out into the atmosphere. It's picking up speed. It's picking up trajectory. Check this out. It says, so then you are to sound one long note. As soon as you hear it, all the people are to give what? One loud shout, and the city walls will collapse. So look, we understood that. Joshua understood that. People of the old understood it. Going back to the Tower of Babel, they knew there's something that's going on in the air. Something that's either in the air that can either help us, or something that's in the air that can what? Cause our downfall, right? Or cause us to fail. So let's jump into Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10, Prophet Jason, we're going to jump into Luke chapter 10. Okay, Joshua 6:2. Thank you, Sister Sharon, for posting it. Verse 17, right? So we look at this. The 72 men came back in great joy. Yahweh, they said. Even demons obeyed us when we gave a command in your name. Where did the command go? Did they just look at them and command them in their mind? Did they just sit there and just think about it? It says it right here. Even the demons obeyed us when we gave what? A command in your name. So they spoke it. And what happened? Yeshua answered, I saw what? Hasatan fall like lightning from heaven, right? So we're getting into that. They understood that there was a battle that was beginning, what? In the air. I'm going to release it into the atmosphere. My voice that I may not say, Brother Jermaine, Prophet Jermaine, I think he got off. If you come back on, Prophet Jermaine, or if you're on, just say I'm here. Because I want everybody to see something, to understand something that happened a few days ago, right? And you were there as well as Quam to witness it. But they understood what kind of damage could be done just based off of what you spoke, right? So warfare begins where? In the air. Then he says what? Hasatan fell like lightning from the heaven. Boom. So something was going on here, right? So we see there was a battle that began where? In the Shemarium, in the heavens. There was a battle that began on what? On the earthly heavens. He was coming, he was falling, and this is where what? The warfare starts to begin in the air. We're back to the beginning, right? And I know y'all getting this. I'm going to get into this. It's a slow walk trying to get in here, right? And we understand where the last battle will end. Let's keep your finger there. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14, right? And, I understand like when we look at the warfare and we look at what was going on here, and you know what? Let's just keep reading through this, right? So it says, he understood that the battle was in the air, right? So when Yeshua told them about the power they had, he says, I'm going to give you power, right? To what? Trample on what? Scorpions, right? He says, and I jumped down to verse 19. I'm sorry. He said, I'm going to give you this power to trample over the enemy, all over the enemy. It doesn't matter where the enemy is, whether he's on the physical earth, whether he's in the spirit realm, whether he's in the heaven. I want y'all to see this real quick. The war begins in the where? The Shemarium, in the air. Winning or losing a battle begins where? In the air. Man understands this. So we understand that when we look at this, right, we see that, Torah, all the Torah observance, right, we understand that the scorpions and the things on this earth and the end of days are telling us to beware of what? Deceivers. Beware of those false prophets. Beware of those false teachers. Beware of those who are what? Speaking what sounds correct, right? Speaking what the itchy ears want to hear, right? These are the people that are what? Leading Yahweh's people astray today. We see it. I know it's hard. I know some people say we came from the church. I know it seems like for those who may join later or was involved in the church, it was false doctrine. It's doctrine of devils. It was not the Yeshua who came to teach the word and teach the world about who his father is, right? So, at the end of days today, the enemy is going to try, right, to what? Hit us with a sneak attack. A scorpion, a snake is not an animal like a lion that you see coming. There are animals that you can't see, boom, and they just hit you when you don't see it. And by the time you find out you're hit, the toxins are already going into us, right? So it's not talking about literal snakes, literal scorpions. It's about what? If we disobey the law of Yahweh, the law of the Most High, the law that he's given us, right? Then they will be what? Able to destroy us. See, we're back to even what? My elect may be what? He's saying that their doctrine is going to be so close that we got to pay attention. We got to understand, right? So let me go to Revelation chapter 14 and 1. We're talking about the power. We're talking about the air. And I need y'all to understand what's going on in the air, what's going on all around us. Now, we say we may know, but we're going to look at it. Revelation 14:1. Then I looked, and there was a lamb standing on Mount Zion. With him were what? 144,000 of people who have his name and his father's names written on their forehead. And I heard a voice from the Shemarium, from heaven, that sounded like what? A roaring thunder, right? A loud roaring waterfall, loud like a pearl of thunder. And it sounded like the music made by the musicians playing the harps. Remember, I told you earlier when we looked at Joshua, we looked at the power that why is all of this power, coming from the air? What is happening in the air? Y'all know. We know we're in a spiritual battle. And this is what we're getting in. If they understand that wars are won in the air, right? This right here, I told y'all before, I may have to use code wordings because I don't want this footage to get knocked off, right? So for example, this would be a bomber, right? And I'm using this for purposes only. I don't owe any right to the photo, okay? This is used for what? Long range attacks, right? So this type of airplane, right? They carry what? Heavy bombs that they can drop down. They carry what? Tankers, aircraft, gas, food, supply. They understand when they send this bad boy in there, it's because it's some things that's below them. It's some things that are on Earth, right? That they know they need to destroy, or what? It can what? Depict on what's going to happen in between the battle and if they win or they lose, right? So we see that the Most High understands that as Yeshua is what? We look at the 144,000 coming from the cloud. They're in this cloud. He could have said, I opened up the earth. He could have said, I opened up the sea. He could have said, hey, I opened up, I don't know, an orange and they came out of. It's the Most High. He says, no. He says, I'm coming from. He saw that the air is so important. As we always talk about the air we breathe. We always talk about knowing about things in the spirit realm and believing it. But you got to study this because you got to understand you can win or lose if you're air warfaring together. Right? So, when we look at this, he's showing us that this is where the battle's won. This is where the battle what? Can be lost. Y'all get it, right? I'm moving in this slow. Revelation 9, verse 3. Check this out. He says, locusts came down out of the smoke upon the earth. Locusts came down from what? Out of the air, right? Locusts came. We understand that the power that's going on, there's power above us. There's power that, that we, because we're trying to what? Take an earthly experience, right? And we don't understand that it's the heavenly experience. And once the heaven comes down on earth, we what? Elevate back up and we'll be able to what? Battle in that zone. Battle in that area. It's what Yeshua knew. It's what Enoch knew. It's what Elijah knew. It's what a lot of the prophets knew. They understood this, right? But it says locusts came down out of the smoke, out of the smoke upon the earth. And they were given the name of the power. They were given the same kind of power that scorpions had. They were told not to harm the grass or trees or any other plant. They could only harm the people who do not have the mark of Yah's seal on their forehead, right? The locusts were not allowed to kill these people, but only torture them, right? For 5 months. Hold on for a second. I think I might have said this wrong. Locusts came down out of the tree, the same kind of power scorpions. They were told, not to harm the grass or, wait, hold on. I did say it. They could only harm the people who did not have the mark of Yah on their forehead. Okay, I thought, maybe I did say it. Maybe I thought I did say that they can harm the ones that had it. But they cannot harm those who had what? His seal on their foreheads. The locusts were not allowed to kill these people, but only torture, right? So when we get in here, the enemy understands the truth. The enemy understands, okay, boom, he comes up from the earth, but he's going to send what? Boom, a smoke screen into the air. He's going to, boom, send some technology. He's going to, so you don't know what's going on. When you see, like today, we had fog, right? Apostle Rabbi, right, doctor? It was massive fog last night. When there's fog, you can't see. When it's fog, you're disoriented. You may still know, I know where my house is, but you're still driving and have to physically look for your house. That's what the fog does. It's the fog and the smear that they have what? Released and kept the people from understanding the full truth of who the Most High Yahweh is, right? So the enemy knows truthfully. He knows he has no power in the air. But we're so religious, and this is where we forget the power that we have. We don't understand when we're arguing or we're battling on what? The battlegrounds on the ground. No, we got to take the battle to the air first. Because first of all, this is where it's coming from. This is where the attacks are coming from. They're looking down on us and saying, look at these fools down here. I'm just dropping little pamphlets and they down there rumbling, right? So, the real battle, Satan has no power over the air. I know you say, what did Paul say? Let's go. What is it, Apostle? Ephesians 2? Wait, hold on for a second. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Well, let's look at this. Maybe I am wrong. But I'm giving you the revelation that was given to me, and I want us to see this. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. And I know, Dr. Zachary, I know, and Apostle, and your sister, she'll correct it, but check it. In the past, you were spiritually dead. Well, what does that mean? Because of your disobedience and sins. The disobedience and sins kept us what? He said what? Spiritually dead. What the spirit mean? Spirit is a... Let me cover this. At that time, you followed the world's evil way. You obeyed the ruler. Listen, you obeyed the ruler of the spiritual power in space. The spirit who now controls the people who disobey Yahweh. I want y'all to hear this. He is the prince of the power of the air and was given that title. But when we look at this, where there's a prince, there's a king. I'm going to read it again slow. At that time, you followed the world's evil's way. You obeyed the ruler of the spiritual power in space or the air. The spirit, the Ruach, who now controls the people who disobey Yahweh. So if you obey the Most High, does Hasatan have that spiritual does he have that spiritual power over you? Does he control you in the spirit realm? Apostle, does he? Does he? This is not. Does he control you if we are lined up correctly in the spirit realm? Because based off of what Paul is saying, he's saying the spirit who now controls the people who what? Disobey. So if I'm disobeying the Most High, I have given Satan the key or the platform, or he has now the grounding or the air. He has the atmosphere to control what's going on around. See, we look at it and we give Satan a title that he never has. He's the ruler over space or over the atmosphere, over those who are outside of Torah. Listen, I'm just saying, let's research this. Let's look at it. We're giving someone something that they didn't deserve. And we're saying, well, he controls everything. He got it. No, he don't. No, he doesn't. We read it wrong. Look at it in the NIV. The NIV, it tells you, say, if you follow what? The ways of what? This world and the ruler of the air. He has no power over. The spirit who's at work is the spirit who's at work and moving those who are disobedient to Torah. Hallelujah. Oh, Heavenly Father, listen, we got to get this. I understand, and I say, Doctor, you may not, you sit in the apostleship, but the prophetic and the Most High has been through you and tapping into this. Our people have to understand this. This is not a ground war that we're involved in. This isn't it. Right? So those who are disobedient, but now you are new. Now you are clothed in new spiritual garments, right? Spiritual garments. Does he have control? I get it. Most of the time, we give him the control. Most of the time, we understood protocol. We understood order, but we released it, right? He does not have power over you. This is something Elijah and Enoch understood. This is something that what? That Yeshua understood. If he knew that, how would they ever elevate in the physical and spirit realm? And I understand some people say Enoch, they believe he was still on earth and his spirit was released. I read it, and I know you have 3 versions of Enoch that you could read, right? You could read just 3 different versions, right? But if something was coming through the air, they're subject to what? The weight of sin. So they had to be light. Their garment that Enoch and Elijah were wearing had to be what? It had to been what? Sin free. Because they never would have made it. They never would have been elevated. They would have been subject to the weight of sin, which would have pulled them down, right? So the word says the one who was what? Dead. You're not dead. I'm not dead. The one who has what? No knowledge of or no zeal of the Most High. Let's look at Acts chapter 1 verse 8. This is Acts 1 verse 8. It's where we are retaking what we had. All right, Dr. Apostle Zachary McIver says he has no ground when you are walking in Torah, which Yah said in Revelation 19:13. I am coming of the name of what? Of the word, and word means Torah. Yes. Prophetess, yeah, the enemy has no power over us. He's not authorized. Yes, the Most High said, boom, this is where you're going to be. But just like he said, my elect who are sealed, this is the physical seal. See, that comes back to a death and destruction. But those who are what? Under the wing of the Most High, his wings are his law, statutes, and commandments. The ones who are walking pure. Let's go to Acts chapter 1, verse 8. We'll start at verse 7. And Yeshua said, we'll start at verse 6, right? When the apostles met together with Yeshua, Yahushai, they said to him, Adonai, Lord, will you at this time give the kingdom back to Israel? So what does that mean? He's saying, are you going to give the kingdom back to those who what? Remember, we're back to this. The Yeshua came for who? He came for what? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. We understand this. So he's saying, are you going to give it back to us right now? It says, right? And I don't want to get sidetracked on that. Yeshua said, the times and occasions are set by what? My Father and his own authority. And it's not for you to know when they will be. But listen, but when the Holy Ruach comes down upon you, when the Holy Spirit comes down and comes into you. He didn't say when the Holy Spirit comes up. I don't know. Maybe his prayer is written somewhere. I've never saw that before. It says comes down from you. You will be filled with the power. You will be filled with what? What I'm trying to tell you. The mind and the body is renewed, right? And the Ruach is on you and you have power over what? All things. We got power over all circumstances. We don't believe that. Listen, Prophet Jermaine's not on. I'm just kind of wait because I want y'all to see what happened. We were together this week. Now I'm just gonna say, and if he comes back on, because I like to have the witness to see this. Prophet Jermaine, myself, and Quan from New York, we were out. We were talking. We were outside talking. We were speaking about Torah. We were building, and all of a sudden, one of the brothers said something like, "Yeah, Hasatan, the devil. I'm just sick of the devil." What happened? Crows just started coming from nowhere. I can't make this up. Inbox him. Yamein, that's his name. Ask him. They started coming. I said, didn't I just tell you didn't I tell you that Hasatan, they hear and they just sent watchers? Because we're here in the spirit realm. I'm talking about we were building. So it felt good to be around like 3 brothers, men, no distractions, no children, no women, no society, nothing to distract us, no cars around, nothing. And we're outside, Apostle, just like you say, right? We were outside. Oh man, where we should be. And then the springtime comes. I want everybody to start going outside. And when you join, listen to this message outside. I'm going to start teaching outside. I know you taught it, Apostle. I know sometimes we weren't there. But what happened was the Watchers came. One came, flew over. Then he flew over top us. We looked over. I said, look, 2, 3, 4, 5 crows came from nowhere. Tag them in so he can hear it. I said, in the name of Yeshua, Yahushai, and I called those demons out. The crows was right up here on the light, looking down at us. I looked at him. I said, you got no authority. And I said, you are not allowed to be in a holy presence at this time. They got up and they flew off and scattered. Man, they could bring tears in my eyes. Because you know why? Sometimes the Most High said, I'm going to make you even see something that you didn't even believe. It was deep. It happened. Yes. He called them. What are they talking about? I said, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I said, depart. I said, you have no presence here in this holy ground and this holy atmosphere. And what did it do? They didn't even fly. It didn't even fly over us. It went like this. It went around. It went around. They understood there was something there that they could. Before that happened, we were seeing, here they come. When I told them to depart, they went boop around and flew out. This happened on Tuesday. Was it last Tuesday, Mary? So they understand, right? And even animals that are used by Hasatan, demons who what? Infiltrate them, they know the spirit realm. They get it. Acts chapter 1. Let me finish. Sorry, you're that. On verse 7. It said, and Yeshua said to them, the times and occasions set by my Father's own authority is not for you to know when the time it'll be. But when the Holy Ruach comes on you, you will be filled with power, and you will be a witness for me in Jerusalem. You will be witness in Judea and in Samaria, and to where? All places at the end. When we understand the mind and the mind, and that's right. I stood in the authority. We had a tornado. I spoke about this a couple months ago. Mary's on here or was the children. And literally, I told that tornado, you heard it coming. Myself, I love my brother next door. That's my Old Testament. And he told me he was in there praying. You just saw the tornado just shift and went right past our whole neighborhood and hit an establishment a half a mile away. Tore it up. In there praying and said, wind, you gonna listen. It's that. This is what I want y'all to understand. There's not no spooky stuff. It's real. And think about it. The power that he is trying to show us as our mind and our body, right? As it transfers and it transforms, it brings new energy to take us into what? A new elevation or a new level or a new place of dominion where we're going to what? Exert our power. Just bust out. You can look at Superman. What did he do? Open up the cape. You see all that and you see everything coming from what? Look, we're stuck on earth. We believe that he has rule all over us. Then it Most High said you have dominion over everything. And I understand. Okay, we'll leave that one alone. I was going to get into dominion over everything and deal with animals and deal with people, and we understood they're being used by the spirits. But we got to understand, and this is why people don't fully understand the resurrection of Yeshua. They really don't understand the resurrection and what it means. John chapter 11, verse 25. Let's go to Yohanan. John chapter 11, verse 25. Yah moves from being around you to being revealed through you. And his power is released. Yes, all prophets have power over the atmosphere. Prophets, tap on in. Don't say, hey, I haven't got to this level. The Most High is showing us these things. John, Yohanan chapter 11, verse 25. Yeshua said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. And that who believes in me, though he was dead, yet shall he be alive. The future, we're looking at the future prophecy, but the power is being restored back to you. The power is being restored back to me. The power is being restored to what? We're back. Those who are walking in what? Truth and in spirit. He said, why do we keep hearing that word spirit? They got us all messed up with this ghost and Holy Ghost and thinking, ooh, it's ghosted. No, the Most High is a spirit, and he what? Created man. He created you. He created me to have what? Power like he possessed. What's your power? What's your Ruach power telling you? What is it showing you? When you renew, Apostle, Sister Sharon, your what? Mind and your body, you become immortal. Huh? I become immortal? You become immortal? When we stand and speak in the authority, the enemy must flee. He actually should never be around us. He shouldn't. That's why it says pray without ceasing. That's why it says speak those things as they are. That's why it says the moment we see the enemy, we need to strike him down with our sword and deal with him. So let's jump into 2 Timothy, right? 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 10. Let me show you something. But now it has been revealed to us through the coming of our Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach. He has ended the power of death. Apostle, it says he ended the power of death. The power is being restored in you. You are a mortal being. Your physical, we look at the physical will die. The physical will depart. Unless King Yeshua comes back and we're one of the elect and we're sealed, the physical is going to depart. But your spirit is immortal. The death and the power. The death and the power in the air. Right? He can't put, Hasatan cannot possess that. Can he? We can give it to him. We have to understand warfare. We have to understand battles. We have to understand there's different kind of war and different kind of battles. But they all start and they're one in the air. This is an Apache helicopter. One of the baddest choppers or helicopters that they have ever created on the face of the earth. It has guns, right? It's used against what? Light ground infantry, meaning like the war that's on the bottom part of the ground. My military people to come on, check. You can type in this later on, right? It has missiles. It has missiles. It has rockets. It has guns, right? It's an anti-tank. It's coming from the air, and they understood I gotta destroy everything that's what? On the ground. Everything that what? Does not have power. If you're on the ground, you have no power. The spirit of Hasatan, what? Has no power. Different what? Weapons for what? Different purposes. We got to understand it. I'm sending in the ground support, but it comes from the air. You need prayer. I'm sending the ground support of healing from the air. I'm sending the ground support because they need help. The sheep are looking around. The wolves are attacking them from the air. And I'm going to use whatever weapon that I have to what? Succeed. The chopper don't come down to the ground until the enemy's destroyed. We got to stay in the air, in the atmosphere. Because we go down and, like I said, drop a couple of these, a little bit of ground, little bit of ground destruction. Yes, you got it, Apostle. We have different weapons to use. And your weapons are your gifts. Thank you, Prophetess. Your weapons are your gifts. And the gift that I have and the gift that you have, and maybe this one don't have, We're what? Many members, and we're supposed to use our gifts to destroy. He dwells in you. Some of us, we ain't ready for this yet. It's the what? Divine energy. It was the best gift that was given. Adam and Eve, they lost it. We understand it, right? But we're here to what? Win it back. We were given what? The best gift over all creations. Why do you think the angels, the fallen, nah, y'all can argue, what? Wanted to what? Take over what? Man's body. They were created to what? This was their purpose. But the Most High gave us what? A bigger fulfillment and a bigger purpose. He gave us what? The best choice, the best everything that we could have. We got to understand that the battles begin in the air. Every once in a while, you got to send some heavy hitters out there. Every once in a while, you can't expect your apostle, your pastor, your moray, your teacher to always battle. Sometimes you got to step and elevate yourself and come up into the air and battle for them. We understand it's hard. Trust me. We see it. We understand. That's why it's the heaviness. It's the heaviness, the fog. Back to the scripture earlier. Fog makes you feel weighted down. Most of us on here, we played sports. You've been outside in the fog. Does fog make you feel lofty? No. It weighs you down. The destruction, right? We got to understand the battle in the air is the battle that we must win. You can win what? The land battles, but if you don't conquer the air, you won't win. If I don't conquer what's going on in the air, I won't win. I can't be sitting here pretty with this on ground looking up. What is that going to do? Can this destroy something that is above when it's sitting on the ground? Yeah, it can cause a little bit of damage, but not the amount of damage where we elevate ourselves up. When we go to what? Higher heights. We hear higher heights, deeper depths. We're going up higher and higher. Because what? We're here. Right? I like this. This is an F-35 Lightning, right? It has what? Long range. It's a long range detector. And what? It says it can see the enemy for miles. They said miles. Like they said far. Land, sea, air, underground. They can see it. It's like the Eagle. That's way up. This is like one of the best fighter jets that's out there. Right? And the enemy's what? An enemy can't even creep up behind. You know, sometimes spirits, Hasatan, crept up, what? Behind us and we didn't see them. We got to be like this. You're not going to see me from behind. This has a radar that lets them know if anybody's coming up from behind. Sometimes we get tunnel vision and we only see what's in front of us, right? Sometimes we miss what's around us. Sometimes we miss and we really ain't seeing what's behind us. And truth be told, let's be honest. This is how it should be. This is how we should be moving anyway. Ecod. This is how we should be moving. Sister Latrice, I got your butt. I got your front. You got my back. I got your back. You got my front. But sometimes, right? We're not what? Prepared. This has look at it. It looks so sleek. It looks so perfect. Right? Do you see any missiles? Any guns? Any bombs? It's all in there. And it's ready. See? We go and look at something like this and it's menacing. And we look at something like this. You can move like a sleek F-35. Your weapons of war don't always have to be flexing. We always don't have to go stunting and showing somebody our power or talking about our power or talking about what we're going to do. You just show up and it means business. You force the hand. F-35 Lightning, right? Conquer the air. Because if we don't conquer the air, Sister Latrice, You don't conquer the air over Baltimore City. Sister G, you don't conquer the air over Baltimore City. We don't win. You don't conquer the air, Apostle, over Burlington County. We don't win. We ain't got to always flex. That's cool. It's menacing. Moving the spirit. Do you see one weapon on here? But this thing will turn you into mincemeat. We have to understand our purpose. We have to understand. We have to understand it all began in the air. They understood that wars are won in what? The air. Shalom for those who coming in. Go back, check this from the beginning. We have to what? Conquer it. The evil thoughts, the patterns, the behaviors. The battle all starts in the air. The arguments, the disagreements are all in the air. Why do you think even the heathen, those outside of the truth will know, and I didn't really mean to really say it disrespectfully. That means those who are outside the gate. You know, you hear the word, go outside and get a fresh breath of air. They tell you that for a reason. The science knew. Go outside and get what? New ruach. Go outside and what? Renew your divine energy. Go outside. Conquer what? Those evil thoughts, the evil desires. It all starts in the air and it gets finished on the ground. Go back to Luke chapter 10, verse 17. I'm going to go back here. I hope y'all understanding this. See, it's the thought. And I want y'all to understand and research and ask the Most High, prepare me for what I'm about to face in the air. Luke 10, verse 17. 72 men came back in great joy. Lord, they said, even demons obeyed us when we gave them a command in your name. I gave you the example. The command came forth what? From man who was on ground, and he spoke those things and it spit and went into the atmosphere, just like the example of the crows that I gave you when we were with Prophet Jermaine and Quan, when us three were together outside building. It what? Had to listen. It didn't say, hey, I'm in higher heights. I'm in a higher air ground. It had to listen. I got some hot things for you. You do not deserve to be here. I'm coming like an Apache helicopter on you. You serve no purpose. And what? It had to listen. We're back to, again, saying Hasatan is the prince of the power of the air. He ain't the power of my air. Because if you keep reading what Paul said, he said what? To those who are what? Unbelievers. Stop giving him, snatch that thing back. We got to snatch this back. We snatch it in the atmosphere in the back. We snatch it up in the streets. We start creating, and I say this lightly. No, I'm not saying that I'm going against the laws and order that are in place. But we create the laws and create our community to come together and ecod in one to bring everything back in full alignment. It's too many of us that got too many skills. We are supposed to be what? The immortal being that he created in Genesis. I want to be immortal. I want to be able to battle. What does this mean? The demons submit in your name. You tell them what to do. Why are they telling us what to do? Why are they bullying me around? Why are they bullying you around? Why does the demon who takes hold of somebody and they come into our ever presence and they knock us off our mark? There's power in remaining quiet and silence. Satan is crafty. We gave them power and dominion when they had no authority. If Satan, Hasatan, fell from Shamarian from the heaven, where did he fall to? He fell to the earth. Satan is crafty. He took what? He took the king to what? The place of authority. We covered this a couple weeks ago. Matter of fact, we can just jump right in it because it's right here. Luke chapter 10. Is it in Luke 10? Luke 10. I just wanted to read it exactly instead of paraphrasing, y'all. When what? When he said, I'm going to take what? I'm taking Yeshua. Yeah, that's right. Tear down Jericho's walls. The beginning of this talked about the power in the atmosphere, the power that we speak. We always say life and death is in the power. It is. In the physical realm and in the spirit realm. It is. I can destroy you with one word. He knows Yah's true people. That's right, Apostle. Dr. Apostle. What did Yeshua and Hasatan do? They came into what? Yeshua said, I'm finished fasting. Satan said, let me take you. I'm going to bring you what? Up. Let's go up. We're going to elevate and go up high. They could have said, yeah, we're going to go down beneath the earth. He could have said, come with me. Let's go back to the seas and let's go check out these water demons out here, right? No. They went back into the spirit realm. They said, well, I'm going to give you what? Authority over all the kingdoms. Satan what? Operated in the air. He tried to trick him. He operates, but he doesn't have dominion. Listen to the word. He operates, but he doesn't have dominion over you because you're a light being and you're a spirit being and we're moving in perfect harmony lined up from heaven right down to earth. This is why we go through these battles. This is why we don't understand when it's time to go to war. We don't understand. Sometimes we got to blend in the air. I told y'all, for my military people, come back. If I get them wrong, look, this is what? This is a stealth. And I know they got different type of stealth fighters. What does stealth mean? Something stealthy, right? It's a stealth, a F-117, right? And what does it do? It blends in the air. It has radar that can't be seen. They usually move these at nighttime, right? So don't move them at nighttime. They have them just dark colored or made by different type of metals and things like that, right? But what do they have? They got laser bombs below. I'm here to move at night to destroy those things from below. I'm here to move to destroy anything that tries to come to get me to what? Fail. It doesn't have no guns. It doesn't have any weapons. It just has what? It's menacing. It has its look. And his look is, you can't even see me. This is how we should be creeping up on the enemy. The enemy don't see us in the spirit realm stepping up. But we want to go make ourselves known. Hey, you, I'm coming up there to get you. Okay, now they're prepared. Move like a stealth. Even amongst our enemies on the physical earth. Move like what? Like a stealth. Move at night. Know your power. Know your power. Each weapon, each aircraft knows its power. He knows I can't go where he goes at night. He knows, wait, I can't shoot guns or missiles, but this one can. He knows, hey, this one is used against the ground control. We don't know our weapons. We don't know what an axe is. We don't know. We want to put on my breastplate. Do we really understand it? Right? He said, I'm going to take King Yeshua to what? To higher grounds, right? In the spirit realm. He tried to battle him in what? The spirit realm to take him out of worship. When you worship, right? What? See, we got to get back to this. Understanding the 12 tribes of Israel and Judah and understanding the worship realm, right? Worship takes you, what? Into the power of the air. Now, and I'm not just getting into this, and I know this is something we got to work on, right? You go in churches or assemblies. We go in assemblies, I see it. The music is playing, and there's nothing. We understand that. We understand how the Most High used King David or King David, right? With the harp against Saul. We understand, like I spoke earlier, and we talked about what? Jericho. But we understand that music has this is probably the wrong word I'm using, so somebody correct in the chat. Hypnosis, right? It's probably the music. How come people can't be filled with the Holy Ruach when the teacher is just up there teaching? There's something off with the spirit, man. We want to do all this hooping and hollering and yeah, and okay. We want to let the music get you and you all amped up and hyped up and filled with the spirit, and then the teacher comes up and is quiet is quiet as I don't know, quiet as a field house in a mouse full of snakes. Matter of fact, that is right. Rats and mice in a house full of snakes, and we can't even get lifted. They don't even know when the streets get lifted. Let's get lifted. They understand the elevation. We keep thinking the battleground is in the flesh. I'm beefing with you because of a problem. No, it's in the spirit. I got a problem with this person. You feel their spirit. You could be at work with your door closed and the spirit realm comes to you first and here comes that person walking in. You could be beefing, honestly, with your spouse. They're in the room, they're in the basement, and your spirit just feels them coming before they finger in the hand even touches the knob. Listen, there are spirits that are assigned to certain geographical areas in the world. Where's my girl at? Sister Latrice, you left. All right, Prophet Janira, you're on here. There are spirits, and I'm not picking to choose because I can't really see how many people on, that are assigned to these areas. So we'll use Baltimore since I see that you're on, and we'll use Burlington County, which is in New Jersey. We'll use Willingboro, Burlington City, Trenton. We'll use those areas. Dover, right? How come when you look in certain areas, there's certain crimes that are occurring? Now, we can rewind. Let's jump back to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, I see you, Sister Latrice, all right? How come in Sodom and Gomorrah, when you look at the grievous behavior that was going on, now we don't really hear about it as much in other areas. We hear about Sodom. We understood that lavishness not lavishness, what's the word? Lasciviousness. Oh man, come on. But we understand that there's geographical demons that are assigned in the spirit realm over the areas. I just told y'all about the crows that were in the spirit realm over top of us. When we told, and when I said, depart in the name of Yeshua and Yahushai, it never flew back over me. It went boop around. They came around and they flew off and left. This is why you can go to certain areas, and we'll use Baltimore. This is a coke area. This is a drug area. This is a prostitution area. This is a murder area. I can use the city of Wilmington. There's a certain area that has an 80% probability that you're going to get shot or stabbed in that area. And you go to different parts of the city that still have crime, but they're not areas where you may die. Look at the heaviness of sin that are in some areas. Sodom, the spirit, the water spirits, right? We understand water demons. Sodom and Gomorrah was what? Right by the water. They were seducing spirits. You look at in Babylon and Canaan. So when you say Babylon or Mitzrayim, meaning Egypt, they worshipped many gods. Canaan, they worshipped many gods. So you saw idolatry in these areas. You saw the adulterous nature in this area, right? So you saw that there were certain things that were going on. So when we look at closer to home, there are areas that are prone to violence. That's because there's a demonic spirit, Testimony of Solomon, right? Demonic spirits that are sitting in that area, and they say, this is my area, and I'm going to control it till somebody comes in here and tells me what? I got to go. Now, we could use, for example, I got my Baltimore people on, right? I didn't live down there, right? But in Jersey, we saw the same thing. But for example, for the wire, right? We'll just use, if that was true, which I heard, they had area where they tried to say, they called it what? Amsterdam, right? That was an area where anybody could just have open market drugs, and they what? Put all the drugs in the area. Now, we understood the things that happened, but was there still crime still going on in those other areas? It got what? Moved down into those areas, right? You had the crime that came down in those areas. You had what? Influx of demon activity that all mushed and came together. And now what happened? The demons were battling. Yes, we understand. They said they outlawed it, and they said, Sister Latrice, help me, because listen, Sister Latrice, you know, Sister Latrice, you was on the grind, and the Most High pulled you away. I don't mean to put your testimony, but it's a prime example. Pulled you out, took you away, refined you, made you know in the spirit. So there were certain areas. Now these demons are fighting for control over the area. The drug demon is fighting the sex demon. That's fighting what? The violent demon. That's fighting the theft demon. And what happened? It all what? Just went haywire. Boom. And it just rescattered. We got to take the authority over what? These airborne, the spirits in the air, right? Apostle? 1 Timothy 1-4. Take authority. Know what warfare. Know what I'm bringing in. Right? I'm coming in with the big boys. They understand how wars are won. How come we can't figure it out? They understand how it is. All right, that's right, Sister Janai. Yeah, we wrestle against not flesh and blood. And Sister Sharon, music is a temporary emotion of Yah. Is it? There's things we have to deal with Hebraically. You deal with the Ruach HaKodesh. We deal with a language and a gift. And people say, oh, everybody's here. And I'm not saying this in blasphemy, please. Everybody was in the place and everybody was talking in tongues. But was there a spirit? Was the spirit of the Most High really there? They're gifts again. 1 Timothy 1-4. I know that one hurt. I know that one I want you to think about it. It says, listen, tell them to give up all those legends and the long list of ancestors which only produce what arguments. They do not serve Yahweh or Yahweh's plans. The seducing spirits, it's telling you here, give up the indoctrination. Give up the rudiments of men. Give up the people who still want to sit while you're trying to elevate and they're grabbing you back. Grabbing a bucket. Get back here. Get back here. Oh, you too lofty. Yeah, I am. Claim it. I am lofty. Right? Didn't Paul say, yo, there's certain things we can be. That's what he said, right? The demons did not know them, the prophet of Yah. It says, tell them to give up those long legends, those long list of our ancestors which only produced arguments. They do not serve Yah's plans. The demons, right? The false teaching, the witchcraft, anything that goes against the teachings of Yahweh, that's what it is. Do I believe that the Bible says that he will pardon those? Because maybe that's all they knew. But when you know, and you know better, it's checkmate. It says, which is known by faith. Do you have faith today? Do you have faith? Faith is what? Knowing that you can battle with something that you may not know. You have the authority of the spirit in the air. And I'm done. There are certain warriors for certain battles. Maybe the spirit realm. All right, Apostle, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the spirit realm may not be the place for your battle, but your battle may be on the earth realm or in the lower realm. Just came to me. Because we can step into something that we're not prepared for. I can say, I'm just going to give this. I'm going to go and fly this F-35, but I know I really am equipped with fighting this Apache chopper. And all these tools that I have, they became useless. Because I jumped into something, or I went to a higher place of elevation. Remember, ground level, air level, right? Super air level. And I'm going to a place that I'm really not ready to battle in war. Sometimes we do. We battle in areas. We fight battles that we're not supposed to be in. But ask the Most High, show me my battleground. Show me my aerial ground. Show me where I am to war at. Show me how to win. Okay, so Apostle Dr. Zachary, they didn't know them in that area because the prophets didn't ask what spirits in the city. And that's right. You hear that? You hear that, Sister Latrice and Prophets and Prophetess Janira? You hear that? You got to know what spirit you're battling in that area. Because I'm out here trying to save the drug users, but the spirit that's over that city is a spirit of violence. Look. You can look at places in the world. Look at where we are now. This is the big melting pot of everything. You have certain areas in the geographical world where they have just been battling the same battle of whether being poor, right? Whether being of violence for eons. Eons. You telling me eons for that's beyond hundreds of thousands of years and they can't figure out how to get it right? They didn't know. We dealing with it on the flesh. The evil spirit departed. We cast the evil spirit into what? The herd of swine, into the unclean. But we didn't destroy the swine. Thank you. Different war strategies. Right? Just like people. We can't rid a city of crime till we understand the spirit of the area. We can't. And remember, when I say spirit, we're talking about what the people there are possessed with. I'm not saying possessed like, this is some crazy. What is going on with them that they become so numb to violence? This part of the city is known for violence. This part of the city is known for, and I don't want to pick cities. This part of the township, this part of the state, this part of the rural backwoods, this part is known for, okay, Beverly Hills is known for what? The loftiness. I don't need the Most High. I don't need God. I have all the money in the world that can buy me what? Everything I need. I'm using, for example, we have to understand who we're battling, who we're fighting. We have to understand our blueprint and our war plan. There's a war plan before going to any type of battle. We have to ask the Most High to continue to show us so we can win and not fight and not war in vain. I hope y'all see this, and that's it for today. Understand when I'm arguing with my wife or my children or my co-workers or the people that's around me or my friends or people within the church or the assembly and we're not agreeing, it's the spirit. So we have to ask the Most High and ask Yahweh to continue to download in us. That's what this book's about. Y'all don't get nothing. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. This is what this is about. This is why we're here. This is why we're teaching. This is why I teach. This is why y'all teach. We were all people that were brought from somewhere else to serve his purpose. So listen, y'all. I hope everybody listen. Please stay safe. Please stay safe. Get the things you need to get. I know some of us like to keep the Sabbath sundown, and it's like, I got to wait till 7 o'clock. Understand the spirits in your neighborhood. Should I really go to the store at 7 o'clock? Understand the spirit. And if we are prepared, see, we used to look at all these people and be like, oh, they're the prepared hoarders and they're crazy, right? But they were prepared. I'd rather have it and need it than need it and don't have it. I got to try to find salt. I'm not going to find salt. I was not prepared. Being prepared to have the extra. But I say this to say, please be careful, right? Please use common sense with the snow. It's going to be a head wavy snow. You have a bad back, you have health issues, let it melt. They want to send you a fine, then take the fine. People who have to work and you know it's going to be bad, I'm sorry. If you can, I cannot make it. Or prepare yourself to have somewhere to stay. I know this stuff sounds so elementary, but we put other people at risk when we say, hey, I'm going to ride the 95 because I want to go get a cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory. And I know the snow was coming. Oh, now my car broke down. So now what? I put the tow driver at risk because he has to come get me. I put the police at risk because why? Now they got to sit there with their lights on that I don't get hit because they can't see in a blizzard because I made a dumb decision. See? Pointing one finger and how many pointing back? Look at yourself first. So listen, I love y'all. And I want to say shalom. That means I'm speaking peace into you. I speak peace into your family. I speak peace into all your situations. I speak peace and healing into your health. I speak peace and healing into your mind. Because remember, your mind is the biggest enemy. This is Satan's playground. If we open the direction, we open the door and let him come in. Elder Ben Zion, shalom.